Good evening and welcome to the Rutherford County School Board regular session. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Tonight be led by Ms. Angel McLeod.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. McLeod. If the audience and others would join the board and staff in a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Before we get to the agendas, just remind the TV audience, the YouTube audience, that the board has already discussed a large majority of these items, and last night, and also in the case of policy, which is the last, near the last of the agenda, we have discussed and debated those twice. So if we appear to be flying through some items without comment, it's because we've probably made all of them. Well, we shall see. First order of business is the approval of the agenda. I need a motion.
Sir.
I think that was Mr. Blair. A second, Mr. Holliday, was that, no?
No, I have a request.
I'm sorry. Well, let me get a second first. Need a second on.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Mr. Holliday, yes, sir.
We had discussed last night taking the board policies in collective, and I would like to review 1.108 specifically.
Okay. Will we not get to those at the very last?
We will. I was just, yeah, as an agenda item, because we had kind of prepared.
Okay. All right. Let's get the rest of the agenda items approved. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. 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 Number 5, approval of consent agenda. Just a word here, Ms. Michaels. I know Mr. Tackett had 2 names which we added. I think you added those today, and there was a correction or 2, but not on the names of the sport, but there was a name on the schools were a problem, but we're okay on here, right? Were there others that he added yet, or are we waiting on those?
No, we're up to date.
Okay, all right, all right. Anything else on the consent agenda that anybody wants to comment on? If not, I need a motion. Mr. Estes, thank you. Mr. Young, thank you for the second. Any comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Which gets us, I believe, to number 6, which is visitors. We have 2 visitors tonight that are nice enough to join us, and in the order in which they arrived, Ms. Jennifer Carter. Ms. Carter, you're with us? If you would come on up to the podium, please. Remind you as you come up, and I know you read the policy on visitors and so forth, please state your full name and address if you would, and remind you that you have 3 minutes, and we appreciate you coming, and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having allowing me to speak today. My name is Jennifer Carter. My address is 1911 Chartwell Court here in Murfreesboro. I'm a lifelong Rutherford County resident, also myself an alumni of Rutherford County Schools. The thing that I'm here to talk about, obviously, what's on the agenda tonight is the vote for whether to allow school on Monday for the eclipse. This is something that is happening on Monday. I don't think that's news to anyone. I don't think that there's anybody that has just found out about that in the last week or the last month. And my understanding is that now the motion is being considered whether to not have school. I assume that at some point in the past a decision was made to have school because as parents we were not notified that there would not be school on Monday. And so I look at my relationship with the school as a parent and the school's relationship with me as that's a partnership. And at this point in time, to have this come up 5 days before this is happening, I think that partnership has failed at some point along the way. I'm very disappointed in that. My understanding is that provisions have been made, plans are in place, teachers have prepared lessons, parents have made arrangements. All of this stuff has taken place in all of this time that was made to prepare. And now to have this come an issue where 5 days before, teachers are scrapping lesson plans, parents are trying to make arrangements, teachers are trying to make sure that kids are going to be safe, because many of them, if this goes through, will be left at home unsupervised. I mean, as a parent, that won't be the situation with my child, but that's a reality of what's going to happen. And at this point, I would just urge the board, like I said, a decision was made at some point in time to have school, and preparations were made. I'm sure safety plans were put in place. All of this was taken into consideration. I understand at this point somebody has thrown a word out there. It's the word that nobody likes to hear, that word. And so that makes everybody cautious and makes everybody say, well, wait a minute, what are we going to do? What are we thinking? I don't think we can be afraid of that word. I think that we have to protect these children. I think the best way to protect the children are if they're not going to be with their parent, because my understanding is any parent can take their child out of school on Monday. It'll be an excused absence. That's what I plan to do with my child anyway, and have planned to do for a whole year almost before this event. Then they need to be somewhere where they're going to be supervised. They need to be somewhere where their needs are going to be met. They need to be in school. Thank you. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Carter. There's a Mary Bauer. Ms. Bauer, if you would come forward, please, and when you get to the microphone, remind you have 3 minutes. If you'd state your full name and spell it if you need to. Ms. Michaels takes beautiful minutes. And your address, and your 3 minutes begins now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Mary Bauer. My address is 3158 Shaylin Crossing, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I'm here tonight because I've had reservations from the very beginning that they were going to keep the schools open. We have one, in some cases, 2 teachers to 20 to roughly 32 to 35 children. They will be outside. The teachers themselves are going to want to see this eclipse. We will have children, unfortunately, with glasses that will not fit their faces. They were made for adults, not children. These children, and I'm thinking I'm here on behalf of all the children, and my grandbabies are 5 and 7. My 7-year-old, very, very inquisitive. I mean, the little ones are never going to keep the glasses on their face anyway. They're not going to be on there. So my concern is that from the very beginning, the school should have closed. I think foresight at the time wasn't there, and the excitement of the eclipse. And, you know, other counties all around us are closing, and they're aware of the dangers. I mean, once your retinas are burned, they're gone. The eyesight is forever gone. There's nothing can be done about it. I am concerned about all the children. However, the parents, I believe, that in the grandparents, they will have somewhere for their children to go where they will be safe to view, or in my case, my grandchildren will not. I will not take a chance on their eyesight. It's just too very important. Like I said, I feel the school should be closed. All of the school personnel and teachers should also be home with their children so they can supervise them however they would like to do with this eclipse. I do know that this can be viewed on the internet, other places. I do say with the eclipse, when these children are home, if, you know, you've got the sun over here, you've got, you know, the window you can open, maybe they can see the darkness. They don't need to be looking at the sun. And I have really strong reservations about this. I myself will not be viewing it. I honestly, just what eyesight I have, I plan to keep. And yes, I'm concerned. I'm very concerned about the children all the way around, but I think putting them in school is not the answer. While the teachers are out there viewing as well, they can't see what this one or this one is doing. they won't know. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bauer. Just tell the audience and those that are here that the director will have a recommendation on this later on in the meeting tonight, and I was remiss in not welcoming the national television stations here tonight for this huge breaking story. You're certainly welcome here, and remind you that we meet again in September 19th and 20th. And since you're here tonight, I expect to see you here on that night as well. Mr. Director, number 7, facilities, please.
Okay, number 7A is roof inspections and consulting services proposal. At the request of the Rutherford County Schools Engineering and Construction Department, Consolidated Roofing Inspection has submitted a proposal for roof inspections and consulting services. These services include working with the architect on roof designs, review of all contractor roofing documents including warranty, attend the pre-construction meeting and lay out expectations and requirements for roofs, to inspect, report, and write punch lists on capital improvement roofs and portables, to facilitate, write, and approve roofing specification and changes, and to issue roofing progress reports. The cost of this proposals are as follows. New roof construction is 1.75% per cost of the roof. Re-roofing projects is 1.75% per cost of roof. Existing roofs are $475 per school, and portable buildings are $75 per building. Consolidated Roofing Inspections has been doing roofing inspections and consulting for Rutherford County Schools for approximately 15 years. They are a big part of the reason for the success of our roofing and re-roofing projects. A few board members may recall the issues of leaky roofs and continuous plagued by the system in those days. Mr. Dan Sinclair with Consolidated Roofing Inspection helped us work through those issues and resolve them. His company has been in the past and still is an asset to Rutherford County Schools, the citizens and our students, helping with everything from roof design to preventive maintenance. This proposal, if approved, is renewable yearly for the next 5 years. Recommend approval. The motion is to approve Consolidated Roofing Inspections proposal as presented.
Second.
Mr. Hodge, I believe that was you with the motion. Mr. Holliday, the second. Any comments from anyone? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Part B, Mr. Director.
This is the Siegel High School softball building. Mr. Larry Creasy has requested a permission to build a 50-foot by 100-foot indoor hitting facility and locker room for the softball team at Siegel High School. The proposed building will be adjacent to the current baseball building and constructed on a slab on grade with wood studs and wood trusses covered with metal siding and metal roof. The school has architectural stamped plans with engineering site plan, and the building is estimated to cost approximately $90,000 and will be funded by the school at no cost to the Rutherford County School Board. Mr. Creasy will obtain all required permits and meet all state, local, and life safety codes for construction and occupancy. All the appropriate paperwork has been completed and filed with the Rutherford County Schools Engineering and Construction Department. Recommend approval. The motion is to approve construction of a 50-foot by 100-foot wood frame metal covered softball building as presented at Siegel High School at no cost to the board.
Any questions or a motion?
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Ms. Moore.
Question. Thank you, and I'm sorry, I should have brought this question up at last night's work session, but I know in the past that we've had a situation where there was a very expensive sports building being built, that the commitment was that the board wouldn't be out, the school system wouldn't have to pay for it, and that the Booster Club was unable to raise enough money and the building wound up standing for quite a while unfinished. I guess I just would like to know that there's some confidence level or some commitment there, that $90,000 is a lot of money, that they're indeed going to be able to raise this to actually finish and complete the building.
You spoke directly with Mr. Creasy about this, I know.
They've got the major part of the money already.
Okay.
And we checked that before we approved it or told them that we'd bring it forward to the board.
Which was not really the case on the prior situation, right?
Exactly.
Didn't have much of it raised. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Clardy.
I think Eagleville raised their money, but we've had others that perhaps weren't as ready as we would have liked. But this one's going to be okay.
Yes, it is. We've gotten where we keep a closer eye on that in my department.
Thank you, Mr. Clardy. Thank you, Ms. Moore. I had a motion from someone over here to approve. Mr. Estes, a second. Mr. Young, thank you, a second. Any comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Part C, please.
C is Stewart's Creek High School Agricultural Barn. Dr. Clark Harrell has requested permission to construct a 30-foot by 50-foot barn adjacent to the existing greenhouse at Stewart's Creek High School. This is a pole barn with engineered trusses for an open span with metal siding and roofing. The structure will serve to enhance the experience of the small animal and large animal veterinary science students and provide the ability for students to raise and research livestock as a part of their Future Farmers of America experience. The estimated cost is $13,000, subject to the bid, and the project will be funded by Stewart's Creek High School and their Ag Department at no cost to the Rutherford County School Board. Dr. Harrell and his team will adhere to all state and local building and life safety codes for construction occupancy. All of the appropriate paperwork has been completed and filed with Engineering and Construction Department. Recommend approval. The motion is to approve construction of a 30-foot by 50-foot pole barn at Stewart's Creek High School as presented at no cost to the board.
Any questions, comments? Mr. Blair has moved for adoption. A second.
Second.
Ms. Moore won that round. Any comments?
I just don't want to be called to milk at 4 o'clock in the morning.
No chance of anybody calling you at any time, but if you say so. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Part D.
D is the John Coleman Annex and Mid-Cumberland Head Start Lease Agreement. The lease agreement between Rutherford County Board of Education and the Mid-Cumberland Action Agency Incorporated for a portion of the John Coleman School Annex is complete. The State Fire Marshal is requiring upgrades in the fire hydrant location outside with 30 added smoke detectors inside, in addition of a fire-rated separation wall in the main interior hallway. The requirements are stricter for preschool students than the older, larger students, so Mid-Cumberland is bearing the expense of approximately $150,000 for these and various other items. The lease was written and reviewed by Board Attorney Jeff Reed and is ready to be approved by the Rutherford County School Board. The agreement is attached under the tab for the board to review. This agreement will ensure that the portables at John Coleman currently being used by Mid-Cumberland Head Start will be moved off-site at the expense of Mid-Cumberland and make room for a playground for the new John Coleman Elementary School that was funded with the new building. Recommend approval. The motion to approve the lease agreement with Mid-Cumberland Community Action Committee for a portion of the John Coleman Annex as presented.
Need a motion?
Move.
Mr. Hodge, I believe. A second. Mr. Blair, thank you. Comments?
Hey, the first one, A, is actually for information only.
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
Oh,
whoa.
I'm sorry.
Whoa.
I thought you said.
Any comments? All in favor of that motion? Before we get to the next one, please say aye. 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 Any opposed? No. Part A.
All right, the financial matters. The job description for the Assistant Director of School and Nutrition is an information only. An Assistant Director of School Nutrition position is in the 2017-18 Centralized Cafeteria Budget, Fund 143. The position is added to the 2016-17 budget, but was not filled last year. This position is part of the plan to prepare this department for our current 47 schools and future growth. The job description is attached. That doesn't require any action.
No.
Okay. B.
Any questions? At this point, we'll go to B. Go ahead.
B is the 2017-18 capital projects budget. This year, there are 4 carryover projects from the 2016-17 capital project budget, Fund 177, which were not complete as of June 30th, 2017. These projects total $1,197,556 and are listed below. The central office flooring, $164,289. Playground replacement at Laverne Primary, $223,016. Roof replacement repairs at Riverdale High, $653,818. And high school track maintenance repair at Smyrna High for $156,433. Each year, the outstanding purchase orders for these incomplete projects are liquidated on June 30. Then an amendment must be approved to take the leftover funds for these projects out of fund balance, committed for capital projects, in order to rebudget these projects so they can be finished. The opening fund balance for this fund is $4,215,222 and will be $3,017,666 after the amendment. Recommend approval. The motion is to amend $1,997,566 from the Fund 177, account 34,685, committed for capital projects, and to increase the budget for maintenance and repair services, 91,300-335, by $1,197,556 in order to rebudget the incomplete 2016-17 projects so they can be finished.
Move for approval.
Mr. Holliday, thank you. A second? Second. Mr. Young, thank you. Any comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Part C.
Part C is our general purpose school budget amendments. Number 1 is approval of the Career and Technical Education CTE Equipment Grant and related amendment. The CTE Equipment Grant Action Plan, the CTE Equipment Grant, is presented for approval for the funding period of August 2nd, 2017 through June 30th, 2018. The grant is for $556,300.49 and will flow through the general purpose school budget, which needs to be amended. The CTE Equipment Grant provides funding for advanced manufacturing programs of study and the health science programs of study equipment. Recommend approval. The motion is to approve the CTE Equipment Grant for $556,300.49, to approve funding for CTE equipment for the advanced manufacturing programs of study and the health science programs of study, and to amend the 2017-18 general purpose school budget by $556,301 in vocational equipment revenues, account 46640, and to increase expenditures for vocational equipment, account 71300-730, by $556,301 as presented.
Need a motion?
Move.
Mr. Blair, thank you. A second. Ms. Moore, thank you. Comments from anyone?
I wish we could vote on accepting $500,000 at every meeting, but probably the easiest vote I've made in my tenure.
Okay.
Chairman,
Yes.
just I think for clarification, maybe for our audience, because I know this was one of the questions I asked, and this is just such phenomenal news, and I just would like to once again give a shout out to Tyra Pilgrim and all the efforts that she put in to make this happen. What she's done for our CTE program is nothing short of amazing. One of my questions, though, when I read this was that the grant provides funding for advanced manufacturing, study, and health sciences, and of course raised the question mark in my mind, well, why not any of the other CTE programs? But I believe, if this is correct, that the grant was specifically for those two areas. We didn't have a choice as to which of those arenas to spend it in, correct?
And she's nodding with us in affirmative, so that is true. Yeah, and this was a special appropriation. Was the governor, was it $15 million that the governor put this in the budget this last year through the last legislative session to enhance this type of CTE programs across the state of Tennessee. And of course, this was a competitive grant, so she was competing against any other district that chose to submit an application for that. So again, this is taxpayer money from the state, but not Rutherford County property tax specifically for that. So yes, hats off to Ms.
Does she get a star?
Should be worth something, should it?
There you go.
Okay. Did we have a vote on that? We did, didn't we? We're okay?
No, we haven't.
Oh, okay. But we had a motion. We had a second. Okay. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Number 2, and this may, I thought this is a really great idea right here, but this may require a little explanation, and go ahead.
This is the unassigned fund balance transfer to Committed for Education for Rockville High operating cost. This amendment transfers $2,500,000 from the General Purpose School Fund unassigned fund balance, account 39,000, to account 34,655, Committed for Education for the Rockville High operating cost in the General Purpose School Fund. The Board and Commission will be able to appropriate these funds in 2019-20 budget towards the additional operating costs we will incur in the opening of Rockville High School. Recommend approval of the motion to amend $2,500,000 from the General Purpose School Fund unassigned fund balance, account 39,000 to account 34,655, committed for education, in order to help fund Rockville High operating costs in the 2019-20 General Purpose School Fund budget. As I mentioned in our work session, we did go before a Budget, Finance, and Investment Committee and approach them because this is something new. We realize that the first year opening for a school does have increased costs where you're hiring all new administrators, all your other custodial staff, cafeteria staff, office staff, librarians, that sort of thing. So the first year has a strong impact on the budget. And several times when we received approval to build Rockville High School, it was one of the discussions that same evening, well, we got to look out 2 years and make sure that we have enough money to operate that school, to start it, and then in subsequent years. And so Mr. Sandvig and I were talking and had talked about this prior to this, that why not designate in a special fund, because this year was pretty good with some growth funds from the state, some other things that we may not have anticipated, to go ahead and earmark or tag this from unassigned fund balance to something designated to opening the Rockville High School. We estimate somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe $5 million as that opening fund, and this is halfway there this year. And of course, we've got 2 years to build it, so it was unanimous. It wasn't a vote, but we asked their consensus. We will have to take it back to them, obviously, for approval. But it was a unanimous consensus that night that this was a good way of looking ahead and trying to anticipate the cost of opening a new school. So they were very much for it that evening.
Questions from anyone?
I just want to highlight that while it's very accurate that additional funds have come from the growth that we're experiencing here in Rutherford County, and as such, because we're funded per pupil ratio and things of that nature, funding is available. But equally as important, previous in the agenda, we have noted where we did not fill a position for the assistant nutrition director and other frugal means of stewardship that the school system has done that allows these funds to be present. So it's not just that additional funds are there because of growth and revenue in our county, but also because of the excellent stewardship of the taxpayer dollars that the school system has done. These funds could have already been spent on something else, but they're there because of the excellent work of the central office.
Further comment from anyone? Need a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Thank you, Mr. Holliday. A second? Second. Mr. Blair, thank you. Any further comment? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? No. The next page, and just remind the audience that we have already, the policy changes come to us courtesy of Ms. McLeod, who keeps us up to date with state law. And we've been over this with the policy committee that was public and on television, and then we have already read them last night, and so tonight we're not going to read them again. Now, with that said, Mr. Holliday, was it 1.101, 108 that you wanted to pull out and discuss separately?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, please.
Okay, well, let's do that first then, if you would. What are your concerns, sir?
This evening, in our policy committee meeting, I expressed some concerns about the revisions that we're making to the nepotism policy. There are two changes that are being made here. One is in regard to direct supervision of the chain of procurement. And that chain of procurement is one that Mr. Sandvig and I think even some legislation is directing us to revise the language. The second change that we're making in this nepotism policy is the elimination of the word public, where it pertains to disclosure of hiring a relative. Now, in a system as large as ours, inevitably there are relatives that are employed somewhere among the 5,000 plus employees that we have. So that's not out of the ordinary. We have a policy that says that they are not allowed to be in direct supervision. That's appropriate as well. The board makes use of the Tennessee School Boards Association model policy, and that model policy does not include this word public. And yet, the Rutherford County board policy has at this time and has previously in previous years included this public disclosure that we would make it a part of the board's agenda if we are going to hire a relative inside of our system. Elimination of the word public was explained in the policy committee meeting as a matter of expedite, that from time to time we would need to hire someone and there may not be a board meeting in close proximity to allow for that public disclosure while we may need that employee in place. Nonetheless, it is my feeling that a higher standard in Rutherford County has existed, that public disclosure has been our standing, and as such, I feel strongly enough that that I'm in opposition of the way this policy is presented this evening. So, if other board members can see my thinking there, I'm happy to offer an amendment, but I don't want to go through that exercise without some cause.
Other board members have comments on Mr. Holliday's comments?
Mr. Chairman, in my tenure on this board and my involvement in the policy committee, I have always consistently subscribed that we as a board should continue our policy to coincide with state statute. And deviating from that, even though I see your point with the public, I still believe that we need to stay with the statute and the recommendation by TSBA, and have confidence that you know, that our executive committee will always do the right thing, and it really is an employment issue also, which the board has really you know, limited participation. So I'm in favor of going with what the SBA has recommended, but moreover, staying in compliance with state statute.
Other comments from other board members? If not, then Mr. Holliday, you're perfectly welcome to offer an amendment if you so choose.
Not at this time.
Okay. Then I need a motion to approve 1.108 by itself, and right now.
So moved.
Mr. Blair, thank you. A second.
Second.
Mr. Hodge, thank you. Any further comment? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Are there anybody in opposition?
Nay.
Okay, thank you. Now we have 18 other, and we didn't pull any of those out.
I need to get the first one there about this second reading position on that one.
Okay, go ahead.
The recommended approval of the motion first is to waive the second reading and second meeting limitation to allow the board to take immediate action on the policies presented. Since these discussed last night, they're statutory, state law, almost all of them, about aligning to that. So the motion is recommendation that we don't need 2 meetings to adopt state law, basically, to do it. So that's why that motion is there.
So
Move to.
Okay, Mr. Hodge moved for adoption of the rest of the policy changes. Any further comment? Mr. Estes is seconded. Anything else? All in favor, please say aye.
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 You want me to read the others with the exception of 1.108, that motion?
I thought we did that. No?
No, this one just eliminated second reading.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, and then your primary motion again is motion to approve policies 1.407, 2.703, 3.400, 4.210, 4.301, 4.600, 4.700, 5.600, 6.304, 6.503, 1.108, 2.808, 6.411, 3.202, 5.201, 5.200, 5.701, 5.203, 2.400, and 2.404 as recommended by the Policy Committee. You have actually already voted on one.
We're okay. We're all right. Ms. McLeod, are we all right? Okay. Thank you, Ms. McLeod. She works very hard on these policies, as you all are aware. And this will be her last board meeting, as a matter of fact. So, and the last policy committee she has chaired, and boy, do we appreciate her a lot. Okay, number 10, the executive committee approval.
Hey, this was discussed last night about our volunteer coaches.
We hadn't
Got
voted,
a
Mr.
vote on that one. Vote on those listed when I named them all.
Oh, we did that already. I know we did that. We did that. Okay, well, all right, we can vote on it in the, okay, you didn't get it. I can't believe that. All in favor of that right there, I need a motion, don't I? Okay, a motion on the recommendation of approval for all those policies.
So moved.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Moore. A second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Young. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Aye, okay, we've now passed it 4 times. All right, we ought to be in pretty good shape. Number 10.
Okay, in the executive committee, last night as we met in our session, it came to our attention that we have volunteer coaches that certainly serve in multitude of sports in our schools, and that from time to time, and those names come before the board, but from time to time we have somebody that actually quits. Very often these volunteers are not paid in this particular case, so there's some need to fill it in a more expedited manner. And part of this was supervision of the kids, help with the coaching. So as our discussion last night, you asked Ms. McLeod to kind of draft a motion, and this is to allow the executive committee to approve non-faculty volunteer coaches if a vacancy occurs between regularly scheduled board meetings. Now, let me add this to it. We just still do the background checks, the fingerprints. We're not going to even take it to the executive committee unless this person clears, okay? So that's very important to this process.
Okay, I move to adopt.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Thank you, Mr. Blair. All in favor?
Whoa.
Whoa. Comments?
Comments.
Yes, sir.
When we discussed this last night, we talked about the provision that we have for emergency purchases, and that provision is that the executive committee can approve this, but then it is disclosed to the public on the next board agenda. That disclosure to the public is not included in this motion, was it considered, and the board's attorney that put that together said that's not appropriate?
We can do that. That's not a problem. It's a listing. We can put that as a listing on your...
Okay, I would like to offer that as an amendment. Allow the executive committee to approve non-faculty volunteer coaches if a vacancy occurs between regularly scheduled board meetings, and the board be advised on the next board agenda. Motion for the amendment.
Second, Mr. Young, I believe. Any comment on that? I think we intended it to be that way. I think Ms. McLeod reminded us last night that it should be that way. We're just agreeing with state law here, but it doesn't say so here, and he's exactly right. If there are no further comments, all in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Aye. Any opposition to the amendment? There is none. Okay.
Move for adoption of the, well, no, we already have that motion, don't we? Sorry.
On the executive, the full approval? Yes. And a second?
Wanting to vote all.
Yes. Okay. Okay. All in favor of the the full non-faculty coach, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? No. Okay, we're in good shape. Number 11 is the insurance update, and I believe Dr. Anthony's going to tell us that they meet.
Yes, we meet on the 24th, next Thursday.
24th. Okay. TV stations wouldn't want to miss that, I'm sure. Okay, director's update. Mr. Oda.
Okay, this is on school closure from Monday, August the 21st, 2017, which is the solar eclipse issue. You have a couple addressed tonight. Let me kind of read some statements about what's kind of developed over the last few days. I know you've received contacts. I've received some too. As I stated last evening, public and staff sentiments related to students viewing Monday's solar eclipse while in attendance at school has shifted from positive feelings of anticipation and expectation to concerns for student safety. Along with heightened concerns for student safety comes enhanced liability issues for our system. And there's some issues that we consider related to this recommendation. Really on the positive side, Rutherford County teachers have covered and continue to cover the science curriculum related to natural elements occurring during an eclipse. Our new elementary and secondary science specialists have done an excellent job in developing and communicating that curriculum to our teachers that they have already been using and will continue to use through Friday. So we're covering the content related to that. Middle Tennessee State University, I believe Mr. Ottman's here this evening. They have provided Rutherford County schools with 50,000 pairs of eclipse safety glasses. They are being distributed to students and staff. We have done that, and they do meet the specifications for the safety. Thank you, sir, and please extend our thanks to Dr. McPhee for that, also an MTSU.
Can I say go blue?
Well, sure, you played for them a while. And we provided parents with forms where they could opt out for viewing the eclipse at school at their discretion, and there's a little bit of report related to that. So the concern side, some of the things that it kind of have developed for us. One, we've received concerns from eye professionals related to how well a one-size-fits-all pair of viewing glasses addresses all ages of students, and one of our speakers tonight did mention that also. I think our staff understands these concerns, but nevertheless, it is a concern. As you know, we communicated early that parents who wanted to experience the eclipse event as a family out of school would be given an excused absence. So we did that and created some forms. After that, there's been a couple of things. The Boy Scouts have organized a viewing event for Monday at Camp Boxwell on Old Hickory Lake. That number of students, and a good number of our students will be attending that. And we were contacted by the Scouts and all relating to that. So those students would be out of school. High school principals are telling me that they're hearing that significant numbers of students are taking a day because it is an excused absence. Hello, high school students. And one high school has already received 180 opt-out viewing forms, which for them creates additional supervision and management issues. And it's interesting to me that if parents, if they've received 180 opt-out, this didn't come from the students because the students would want to stay home probably, that parents must be having great concerns about their high school students viewing that. And some principals have related that to me, but that's just a concrete figure. That was 2 days ago I received that figure. Another principal today told me that he's kind of done some counting and polling, and he estimates that up to 40% of his students will be absent that day. Parents and students have related to him that they plan to opt to not come that day and view it as a family or themselves. That certainly concerns me and would concern teachers because it's very difficult to cover new curriculum content or move on if you have significant numbers of your students not in school. So the large number of absences certainly are of concern for us. One of them is under New Tennessee's ESSA submission plan. Even excused absences accumulated in the chronic absentee measurement for each school. So even though you excuse the child and the parents excuse them to take them out for viewing this event, then it becomes one absence for that student going to their total of chronic absenteeism. That's something we have no control over. That's a definition under ESSA that comes from the state. And as I mentioned last evening, our primary state funding is related to average daily membership, but transportation is funded through average daily transported, which is you count the students who ride a bus for a given day. So if you have 30, 40% or whatever number not coming that day, there is some financial impact on that. So kind of taking a look at those things, I would say these final statements, and I'll read the motion. Student safety during this event is our primary concern, without a doubt. Rutherford County Schools, and for you and for me and the teachers, safety is the number one concern. Whether it's real, it's perceived, unfounded, but public and staff sentiment about safety has emerged again as the number one concern for people. Number two, the teaching learning aspects surrounding the eclipse have been accomplished. The actual eclipse will be the experience whether the school is in session or not. Our teachers have taught that content and continue to teach that content. Therefore, the recommended approval, the motion is to close Rutherford County Schools on Monday, August 21st, 2017, to help facilitate the opportunity for families to experience the eclipse as they see fit.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Blair. A second from Mr. Hodge. Have comments from the board.
I just want to express my disappointment in this turn of events. It was my desire that we continue to be leaders among the school systems in the state of Tennessee, and we are certainly at the 11th hour in making this decision. That's very, very regrettable. It's come to my attention that there are outside influences that have created more of the concern that has been expressed by staff in particular, and I'm concerned about the levels of staff absenteeism that we are anticipating or already aware of. I want to applaud those principals and people involved in our curriculum that have worked very hard to make sure that the educational aspect of this experience has been accomplished. I want to applaud those who have worked to create a special opportunity, whether it is cooperative relationships with others in the community, be it MTSU or others in the science community. I want to applaud students who have enthusiastically embraced this in their clubs and organizations to anticipate this special day of school. And to those people who have contacted me with a desire to experience that which has been planned, I want to apologize because I anticipate that this vote will go in the direction of the closure of schools, and I find it regrettable. There were discussions that this board held in our June board meeting that were very anticipatory of this being an effective and exciting day of education, and it appears that that will not be the case.
Any other comments from board members?
I think it's still going to be an exciting day of education. It's just that parents and families are going to be involved on a larger scale. And I also apologize, Mr. Holliday, to the parents that wish their students are going to be in school, but I've got to err on the side of safety. My crystal ball hasn't worked very well in the last few years, and we're going to have a number of employees out that day, and asking substitutes to watch after children that will possibly be the first time they've ever laid eyes on them, to ensure that they're not going to use the glasses in a inappropriate or improper way, I think is a little bit to ask. And I think knowing what has eventually occurred, and I believe it to be an unintended consequence, that we just didn't know that so many employees were going to be absent on Monday, and to like I said, to err on the side of safety, I think it's the right thing to do, and I'm sure we're going to have our criticism, and I'll accept the criticism that I'm due, but I'm going to have to vote to support the director's recommendation.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Ms. Moore.
First of all, I want to thank Ms. Carter and Ms. Bauer for coming out this evening and speaking to the board. I know that takes a lot of courage, and I thank you for being here. And I appreciate and understand both of your positions. And thank all the teachers and all the parents that also have reached out to us over the last couple of days via email and lots of phone calls. I do think it is very regrettable that this has happened, and it's happened at the last minute like this, because I know there's a lot of criticism out there, well, why did you wait this late? And I just kind of want to reflect back and point out that I really do think that we, as a board and as a school system, upheld our responsibility when we said we're going to keep school on, give the students the opportunities, because frankly, from a parent's perspective, with a 16-year-old in middle school that was going to get the opportunity to go over to MTSU and participate in these activities with people that actually know what they're talking about, whereas mom really doesn't, I wanted him to be there. But I do think that we did the right thing in terms of offering excused absences, and also in terms of saying to parents, hey, if you're concerned about your child's safety in their eyes, you can opt out. So at the end of the day, it is regrettable that it's come to this, but again, when you look at all the aspects, I always have to err on the conservative side that if there is that much of a concern about safety being expressed, whether it's valid or not, and with this many absences and the fact that we may not be able to fill all the teacher absences with substitutes and so on, I do think in this particular case, as tough a decision as it is, that it is in best interest to go ahead and close the schools on Monday.
Other comments from board members? But before we vote, Mr. Evans, I believe you wanted to make a comment on this subject.
I did. I just wanted to make sure that we have with us tonight Mr. Andrew Ottman from MTSU. He's their Vice President for Communications. I think I got your title correct. And he has been very generous and been talking to our school district for many, many months about the ways that MTSU could support us during this event. And I just want to make sure that we're showing them gratitude. They're the ones that have provided the eclipse glasses for all of our students and will cover most of our employees through a partnership with Turner Construction. They've also worked through their science department to help us design some curriculum that our teachers are using and are still planning to use, even if we're not in school on Monday. And so Mr. Ottman wanted to come here tonight just in case there were any questions or concerns. I know that last night someone had mentioned whether the glasses were approved or not, and I think we've covered that, but he's at your disposal if you have any questions for him. But again, just want to say thank you for everything they've done for us.
I think the board can echo that. Thank you.
I think they might deserve a round of applause, Mr. Chairman.
Well, if you think so, Mr. Blair.
And your event is still on, and it's open to the public, right? Do you want to step up to the mic? I'd be glad for you to do that. So,
like your shirt. Actually, I have one just like it.
I know. I think I know where you got it. Well, hello. James, I wanted to thank you as well. James has been a part of our planning team for this event. Indeed, the event is still on for Monday, and we plan to have a really robust event on our Science Corridor of Innovation in front of the brand new science building. Starting at 11 o'clock, we have a very large platform stage. We'll be featuring student music from Match Records, which is the College of Media and Entertainment's band. Prior to 12:30, we'll be doing tours of our science building. We'll have tents all around the grounds with telescopes and activities and instruction. At 12:30, the bands will conclude. We will have a stage show. On that stage, we have a donor that's provided LED screens, large kind of drive-in style screens. They'll be located in this yard in different places with sound systems. So we'll be actually putting on a show with the members of our Department of Physics and Astronomy walking through the science, using the screens to show live feeds from NASA and other slides of information where we'll talk through what's about to happen, stressing safety, stressing proper viewing, but also really just explaining the science. That'll go to about, really to about 1:15, and then we'll go into what we kind of call almost a football game style color commentary, where we'll basically, with an astronomer, talking about what we're going to see, we'll lower the chatter and the lights, and indeed, for the totality, we'll experience that together. After the lights start to come back on in the sky, we'll talk through what we've seen. We'll replay our video feeds so that we can walk it through in slow motion to point out things you might have missed in that experience. I should point out for your audience at home and others This will be live streamed on Facebook, which is available on our Facebook page, on MTSU's Facebook page. Also on our website, mtsu.edu/eclipse. We will be broadcasting this on Comcast Channel 9, which is our educational resource channel. And so you'll be able to watch it in a variety of different ways from your home if you don't come to the event itself. But the event is still very much on. We're anticipating a lot of visitors, particularly from the southern regions, who don't want to really kind of go all the way up to Nashville or Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and want to get into the totality. The totality will last for about 1 minute, 4 seconds, starting at 1:29 and I believe 9 seconds. But let's just say 1:29 just to be safe. And I'm happy to answer any questions anybody might have.
Mr. Ottman, you just may want to include that you guys are also the NASA certified site for this area. Is that right?
Oh, he's really good. Yes, as a matter of fact, James, yes, indeed. NASA was kind enough to grant us one of the 6 certified viewing sites in the greater Nashville area, and that means they've provided us with instructional materials that are on our website, but they've also given us materials that we'll be giving out at the event itself. And we're really excited about that. That's a nice point of pride for us to be a NASA site, which means they'll be referencing us. We'll be providing our live feed from our broadcast to NASA's television network, and they'll be referencing us and saying, hey, down in Murfreesboro, this is what they're doing.
Maybe that's the reason so many of our students were saying they weren't coming. They're coming to you instead with their parents.
Well, we would certainly love to have them, and we obviously are looking for every opportunity we can get your great students onto our campus, because we really appreciate the opportunity to sell our story to them.
And it's a beautiful campus, by the way.
Well, wait, I totally agree with you, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions?
In your planning efforts, have there been any discussions of liability? That's what we're struggling with here with our system, and yet we're a government entity not so unlike you, and yet you've been able to make the decision that, that liability is something that you can handle.
Well, obviously the relationship we're having with our audience is different than the relationship you're having with your students. You know, I don't want to quite call it apples to oranges, but I guess I am by just saying that. We're inviting an audience and basically walking through instructions, but there's no requirement for them to be in our care. That is their choice. And I think that's really where the difference lie, even though I realize you do have options on opt-in and opt-out. Safety is a top concern with us. That's why we very early went through the process of finding a certified optic company in Tennessee that provided the optics of this, so we verified them as being certified through NASA before we began. So we know our glasses are good, and that's why we were very confident in making the arrangements with your school to provide them. We are going to be using those screens that I described in that whole discussion to basically talk through every aspect of what to do with those glasses. And there's a period when you need to, if you're going to look up at the sky, you have to have glasses on, and there's a period you can take them off. And I'll be at a mic with some astronomers, and we'll be walking through with very large graphics and very big screens saying you can put them on and you can take them off and you can put them back on. So because of all those things, I think we feel that we've got layers of redundancy in talking through the safety. And of course, those materials will happen at check-in when we give them the glasses as well.
Okay. Any other comments?
To thank Mr. Ottman again for the partnership that we have with MTSU. It means a lot, and all the trouble that you all went to get our students these glasses, and apologize, of course, for any inconvenience that this caused the university. But my hope is that if the decision is made tonight to close the schools on Monday, that you're perhaps even going to see more of our students and lots of parents out there as well. So
well, thank you. And again, my compliments to James and all the science specialists in the schools. They've been a joy to work with. Our physics and astronomy teachers have really enjoyed helping them with their curriculum and giving the resources. I do agree. I think you're going to have great lesson plans that delivered, obviously now, if you do vote, before Monday. And on behalf of Turner Construction, who really gave us the money and the will to help out your students, we do hope you take advantage of the glasses, by sending them home with those students if you decide to cancel school. And we appreciate your letting us partner with you. Thank you.
You.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Further comments?
I'll just add that MTSU's involvement and Andrew's explanation is very, very helpful. Our board's unanimity is one of our strengths, and I still regret this exceptionally so. We tried very, very hard not to allow a misstep here, but Andrew is compelling in the preparation that MTSU has, and perhaps his program and others like it are the best option for our students.
Any further comment from anyone? We have a motion and a second properly made, and if there are no further comments, all in favor of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Very well. Part 13 is TLN, and I doubt if we have anything tonight, but we'll ask Ms. Moore, and she will nod yes or no.
I think things are still pretty quiet up on the Tennessee Hill, so I'll, no report this evening.
Okay, Mr. Holliday, anything from Washington?
Likewise, no report this evening.
General discussion by board members, anything? I'd be interested to know that I tried to get the eclipse changed to Sunday, and I failed. I made every call that I could think to make, but it didn't do any good.
Did you know we had a call that asked us, could we change the date? I'm serious about that. Can't make that up, but we did have one of those calls.
Well, I can almost beat that. I had a call from a gentleman, I'm sure a very nice man, was on my answering machine, and he said, would I lie to this board? No, I would not. That we should conduct a fire drill at the same time as the eclipse. Y'all look at me like I'm lying, and I'm not. Okay, I didn't think that was a very good idea, so I didn't pursue it. Any other serious discussion by board members on any topic?
You have two handouts. Mr. Sandvig provided you with one. The medical insurance comparisons, which he's provided, and we have graduation dates for this spring, which will go up on our website. Enrollment today is still, it's a little bit below 45,000, still a little below 1,400 new students this year. Still difficult. This is was this our 5th full day at school? So again, it takes a while to clean up the databases to see who's really moved or relocated till those requests come in. But I'll send you something as when we feel a little bit more comfortable, we'll send you some updates of how it's coming.
With
50% growth.
I guess we'll be going to Tuesday when Rockville High School comes online.
Certainly possible. Or it'll be some odd times one or the other.
Any further comment from anyone? General discussion by board members? Last chance. Thanks to the staff, our visitors, TV stations, and others who attended tonight. You're always welcome, Rutherford County Schools. We are adjourned.